Whoa, Awestruck Comics Podcast, everybody. This is we actually pulled this, extracted this from the end of one of our week's episodes because it's more new segment, the Marc-Down, which is me, I'm Mark, and it's when I go to stores and I get a bunch of stuff. I never pay retail, I never ask for a discount, but everybody knows me, so I kind of just get a discount or a Marc-Down. So sorry for the hard cut, but recording already in progress, ready to go. Like and subscribe, share, and again, I apologize for the hard cut. I'm still figuring all the ins and outs and the wherewithals. So love you. See you guys soon.
Yep. Married with children.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so they did better than they probably should have. And Green Hornet lasted a while. There's a lot of Green Hornet issues.
Yeah, I don't know if this was because they had there's a want to say there's a mini series. This is the new ongoing color series, right?
Yeah.
But there is a black and white, I believe, mini series before this. But the reason why I like this when I was a kid, literally, was a dumb reason because this guy's spelled his name with a C. It was Mark Hansen, M-A-R-C. I'm like, this guy's got my name. You know what I mean? That was not that rare of
Yeah.
a spelling.
The effeminate form.
I just kind of yes, thank you. So but this I just kind of threw in. I was just kind of looking through and I was like, oh, it's really cool because it's them doing like a Marvel parody essentially,
Yes.
approved by the powers that be, PTB, and so the Comics Code Authority. So but yeah, I figured you would enjoy this, and this kind of felt right in the middle of like reading Marvel comics and then also kind of getting Peter Porker or Mad or Cracked, and so this kind of fell right in the middle. And it was always what I guess what I didn't understand when I'm looking through these, he was always being put into like a sanitarium or he's being electrocuted in issue 4. Like I just when I was reading, I was a kid, I was like, what's he? What is it? He's crazy. Like they just kind of always kind of put him in like a sanitarium through like every other issue, and I didn't know what that meant. You know what I mean? I had no idea what that meant. So that's kind of funny. So, but they were in the dollar bin. He had a stack of these of all the mini comics, got a ton of them, and and he said $5 a piece, and I'm like, so I just kind of went through and found one that I had, which I had this one many faces. I almost got the Modulock one. Remember Modulock?
Yeah.
It was like 30 or 40 pieces, and you just
Little
kind
piece
of
of rubber and y'all. And I didn't get them, but they made a Modu bot later, which is like the same idea, but like robot pieces.
Oh, okay. And then I had Extendor, I think, too, which was the guy just like got real tall. But this was these predated.
He was the idea behind the medicine extends with a Z.
Extends.
Yep.
We're not taking that just yet, but probably will soon. But I wanted to put the scale of this, right? So I wanted to pull this and this I picked this one specifically because I'm trying to remember the guy who did the majority. Larry Houston, I want to say, did the majority of the art on these guys, but or maybe I'm thinking of Thundercats. I've been doing He-Man and Thundercats that kind of overlap a little bit. Larry Houston might have been Thundercats. But yeah, you got Mark. Here we go. Mark Texiera. Woo! This is go my Mark Texiera.
Look at that, dude.
And Todd Smith, who did later issues of Darkhawk. Gary Cohn, I don't know. I think he's a TV writer. Gary Cohn might be a TV writer.
That makes sense. Yeah. This is probably pre. What's the year on this? Is it 90 or 82?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be. They might have been doing this one. So that's the problem with the He-Man comics, just like Transformer comics. They weren't talking to the people working on the cartoon. So you got different origins of He-Man, different origins of characters. Gary Cohn might have been just a Mattel creative,
Yeah, that's right. Because this would be 82, so this would be before. But I had this toy for sure. But this was like literally, very.
Many-Face was awesome. He's the toy I got when I couldn't get Trapjaw. Like I really wanted Trapjaw. My parents went to Toys R Us. Maybe my dad worked an extra hour that week. We were dirt poor. And I really wanted Trapjaw. I know he came with like a ring you could put stuff in.
I never got Trapjaw. Yeah, my friend Steve Miller had Trapjaw. I always wanted Trapjaw. Yeah,
always jealous of the rich kids. My friend Nick, his family, his parents enjoyed going around hunting for toys, and they did it even when he was an adult. They were still going around buying stuff. They were awesome, and he had every He-Man thing, like everything.
Who had? Do you know the friend that may have had like the Endor, like
this kid
playset?
This kid had it
because Steve Miller had that too,
and he didn't care. He was like, yeah, it's cool. My parents give me everything. And I'm like, I have 2 He-Mans. I have 1 Transformer. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I really appreciate everything. So, but instead I got Many-Faces. They came out with Many-Faces. I also really wanted Fisto and Stridor were really bad. I never got him until I was an adult.
That's right. I did have Fisto. Who was
I did get Fisto. Like my grandma found him at a yard sale, but he didn't have like his armor or weapons.
did you have
Just like
Ram Man?
I did have Ram Man.
Is there two colors of Ram Man? The advertisement said that there's a different color of Ram Man, or it was only red. I had red, but in a lot of the advertisements he was like yellow or yellowish orange up
Hmm.
top. I don't know if there
No,
is one. It's almost like the Bumblebee cliff jumper situation, So, but this place is kind of neat. It's almost like this place that I've been to a bunch of times. And I put the card in, but I mentioned, but I went and I think something was going on, and he had to like it literally. We were walking, and he literally had closing early, and I was like, man, and I was like, oh, I just want to just take a quick look around. But I was kind of, and I know the guy, I've seen him at different conventions. I've been there a bunch of times, so I got my Marc-Down basically.
nothing better.
Jerry Martini is the guy I Venmoed him. That's why I just want to look his name up really fast. But he knows kind of the same stuff. But I put the stack there. He had a stack. He does a lot of Facebook. This is Tinkerbeee. You can find it on. There we go, right there. I have the in there Facebook, Instagram. He does Instagram lives. He does Facebook sales. But he had a bunch of stuff there. His table set up. Basically, he's probably closing the store and either running a sale later that day or later that night, where he does a Facebook auction, right?
Mm.
So the back of the store had some of the Facebook auctions that people were going to pick up, but he had a big stack of Black Panthers there, man. And I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, this is, he's like, it's kind of for the sale. He's like, just pull one out and I'll price it for you, right? So I pulled out the Black Musketeers episode issue, but you know what I'm doing right now. So basically, I'm grabbing a bunch of Conan calls and John Carter's. But yeah, there we go, advertise. But this was $10, and it's got some beat up on it. But this is a crazy good issue. I don't know. This is a kind of a pretty famous issue, and probably mint it might be closer to like 100 or something. So I don't mind a little bit of wear, a little bit of staining on it, but just the cover is incredible. It's a whole like 10, 12 page origin. I'm going to put this on Instagram today, but like cover super powerful. Like Joe Kubert at its like peak. This is 1971. And then the backup is Enemy Ace, so really good, Joe Kubert art. So full 100% Joe Kubert issue. Just crazy. Well, I guess he does everything here. I don't know if he did the colors, but look at and we'll talk about lettering when we go into reviews day later. But the progression of the art, all the lettering, just unreal. Of having like it's just emotion on the page, man, just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
then just the cold unknown soldier. That's great. So yeah, want me to pause it? You good?
Nope, good. Keep going.
So 2 issues of Conan, I'm grabbing. So it's a pretty early Conan issue, right? So that was but that one, the one on the left, I was really happy with it because these were $3 a piece. But
This
the
is
one on
where
the
all
left,
tentacle porn started. Was this Conan?
there's tentacle porn in today's comics. We'll talk about it on reviews day. It's crazy. So there's a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So early tentacle porn right here. It all started here. But that's an Ernie Chan. I want to say like heavy Ernie Chan cover. But look at this art. Look how crazy this is. Ernie
That's
Chua,
awesome.
Ernie Chan, Ernie Chua. But yeah, I always love this.
He inked the hell out of that, dude.
He does. Yeah.
He doesn't even make that look like Buscema.
Nah, like there's
At
they
least that page.
become. I know Liefeld in his podcast talks about the Barry Windsor Smith Herb Trimp third person.
Yes.
I feel like that Buscema has a handful of artists. There's a John Buscema, Bob McLeod combo, the John Buscema, Ernie Cole, and then when John Buscema does John Buscema, well, of course that's him, but it's like even then it gets a little bit different too. So there's a handful of people that are going to touch it. Tony DeZuniga. So there's a lot of stuff that was a 73, but 32 is that's pretty low. I mean, again, what I was able to get in Baltimore, I always talk about the reason why the Conan thing started up was basically I got like 50 to like 120, 130 for like 60, 70 cents a piece at that one. He's like, oh, it was one guy, one collector. And it was like, okay, great. And they're just beautiful. But yeah, this was the issue of Black Panther I got, but really great, a couple spine ticks, but yeah. And then, but you got to figure that, now that we've seen a lot of the art is that, Kirby would draw in the title. So that would be all titled in and everything. So that's really fun. Coloring I Varnatov. That seems like that could be someone, I don't know who that is, or it's someone. Oh, and I put that. This is so this is in Kubert fashion, but yeah, that's barely a Darth Vader.
That is barely it. Yeah.
But Kubert School. Let me see. Produced by Joe Kubert School. So probably a lot of people are drawing this. Probably like Rick Veitch, and I have a lot of these. So superhero catalog, I have 3 or 4 of them that have just literally these exactly. Look, superhero merchandise, Dover, New Jersey. So I guess maybe he supplemented part of the Joe Kubert School from some of this work. I imagine. I don't know, but a
They
lot of
always
this
did.
work.
All the Kubert guys, all the Kubert kids end up getting a little bit of work, especially their senior year.
Yeah, it's because they just had this advertisement in, but yeah, I actually have comic book collections of like just full advertisements where he made like almost a superhero like archetype like character on the cover as well. I'll have to
what
cover
year
that
is
too.
this? Is this 78?
This is 78. Yep, you're right. 78. But look at these costumes. That's pretty fun.
You think these characters have ever come back, the Black Musketeers?
I want to say
Like the Christopher Priest go.
I feel
I can use this in a weird way.
I feel so. I feel that may have happened. Yeah, that would have been really fun. But this I put on basically because this pinup I always really liked. I really
That's incredible.
wish this was a poster. And this guy lives 20 miles from us, 30 miles from us. Rudy Nebris lives right around here.
Yeah,
somewhere. He does a lot of. It's funny because when we're younger, we don't. It would just be this guy in the Philly con. We walk by and be like, I'm not talking to that old guy. You know what I mean? Now I'm like, where's Rudy Nebris at? Can I have him?
So he was one of the
something?
He was one of the Filipino artists they found in the 70s, and I guess he came to America as soon as he could. Because he's probably like, wait a minute, if I live in America, I can make more money.
Came to New Jersey.
I
will go to South Jersey. But yeah, I love this pinup so much. I really wish that like there was a way to have that as if I can just get rid of everything else.
He went some of the last stuff I really remember him doing. He did a couple Cross Gen Chronicles, which was like their quarterly book that George Perez started. George Perez does a couple of them, Cross Gen, and they're phenomenal. And then Rudy Nebris did a couple of them. They're just beautiful books. And I'm like, I wish this guy, I know commissions, whatever. I know he's getting up there. He's probably in his 70s at the youngest.
Yeah, he did a show up in North Jersey a year or 2 ago. It was right either as the pandemic was starting. But yeah, I would like to, or maybe I might be able to find him if he's on something and contact him. Like, hey, what would this cost to recreate it? Because he did a lithograph there where they handed him out at the admission, which was I think was $10 or $15, and it was a Shang-Chi and an Iron Fist. I still have it somewhere. I should put it up, but pretty cool drawing. But it almost looked identical to this art. Like it didn't look aged or anything. But yeah, I would wonder what he would charge for something like this. Can you draw a recreation of this? Because that's what a lot of those artists make. Mike Zeck makes probably a ton of money redoing Wolverine, the Wolverine cap cover where he'll switch somebody. I've seen a bunch. You can look that up. There's a bunch of those on there. So
yeah.
There's a Cole 17 again. This is an Alfredo Alcola. See that? See what he did there? And Ed Hannigan. I wonder what Ed Hannigan did this. I wonder if it's reversed because Ed Hannigan around this time, if books were late, Ed Hannigan was not necessarily an art director, but there was a good Ed Hannigan. Did you ever see that book a couple years ago? They put out, it was Ed Hannigan like Benefit. Ed Hannigan Uncovered.
Yes, I was trying to think why that name was something recently. Yeah, I never checked it out, but I know what you're talking about.
Ed Hannigan was the original artist of Cloak and Dagger. There's a Marvel Age where it wasn't adding up correctly for whatever reason, and he voluntarily left the book. But you can see the first 8 pages of in a Marvel Age comic of what Cloak and Dagger miniseries look like. And then you can put them like that's a project I would love to do, like for the Instagram. That's the stuff I really like to do, is like, hey, here's a project that came out, 2 different artists did it. Yeah. Like look at this. And then of course Leonardi's, that's his signature, made Leonardi, and then Leonardi went to Spider-Man 2099, and it did, he was the B artist a lot of the time for Silvestri.
Yeah, he made a lot of money going back and forth doing the bi-weeklies with Silvestri. Like those guys, like on Uncanny X-Men. Uncanny X-Men, they were hitting back and forth on. So, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, so then the next place I hit. So anyway, to go back, so the first spot I didn't buy anything at the flea market, right? The flea market, like antique shop, just didn't nothing really came to me, so I just left. I don't feel obligated that I have to buy something.
Right.
If James was there, I probably would have bought something from him. You know what I mean? But he wasn't there. So he's there on Wednesdays. He wrote me back on Instagram because I was like, hey, I'm going to be up your shop year round. And he's not going to be there. He's got a baby. So well, him and his wife, a baby rather. So the next place I went, my daughter had to go back to college. So I took her back to University of Delaware, dropped her off. And then I came back up and there's a Barnes and Noble place that has a lot of pop culture stuff, used DVDs called Second and Charles, right? There's a chain. There's, I don't know, 50 of them in the US or so. There's one here and there's one out near, I think, Pittsburgh. But they have a lot of stuff that's secondhand or used or just, leftovers, or it's like a TJ Maxx of bookstores, right?
Right.
I did find that one thing. There was an Alan Moore like 3-pack book that I took. It was like $9. I took a picture of it. Like, I'm good. I'm like, all right, good.
Alan Moore's that novel, Jerusalem.
Yeah, so it was a 3-novel set. And they had some Godzilla stuff, but I was trying to find, there's a Godzilla encyclopedia that I want to find, but I don't want to pay a lot for it. And everywhere around, it's kind of a lot. So where I argued, they had the Marvel Art of Savage Sword of Conan hardcover, which is not a big hardcover. It's probably 120 pages, right?
Right.
Retail is $50. On the stickers, it's $74.99. Now, up top, if you know anything about book sales, if something sits for a while, they'll put a little black marker on the top, which means it's a clearance book, right?
Right.
And it wasn't really worn, okay, but it was not shrink wrapped, so it was open. It was a hardcover, 120 pages, 70, and had a sticker on it, $74.95, and it says MSRP $50. I'm like, so I go on eBay, try to look at it. I can't. It's not on eBay. It's nowhere. It is no. I looked at a couple other spots. It is gone. It is zero. Now I have a digital copy of it, but I wouldn't mind having this, right? So I'm thinking $25. I'm going to ask for. I'll go up to 35. I'll go 25. Right.
Right.
So I go up. The clerk, and and I'll look. We'll talk about these books because these books were just the right price. Great prices here. So I went up. I said, listen, I used to work in bookstores. Not exactly true. I used to work in bookstores, so I know this black market. This is open. Blah blah blah. MSRP for $50. And then she says, well, the sticker, but this must have come in at at a high. We know this is not around. And I'm like, all right, well. And I said, okay, well, can anyone just look at it for me? And then another manager came over and kind of just backed their person up, which is fine. I get backing up people. You know.
Yeah.
So I get that, and I was like, yeah, but it's got the black marker on top. I kept going over it. I'm like, yeah, but it's open. No one wants this book. Like, I try to make it like, nobody. I'm the only person that could want this book. This is me. Right. I have money for you right now. And they weren't crowded, but they started getting in the line. I'm being, the dick in the line. I'm like, can I just buy this book? Yeah. I'm not paying $75 for it. I said, you can't do 35 first. I said, 25. I said, you can't do 35. And then they're like, no, it's 75. Like, they knew I was not going to go. And I was like, all right, well, okay, I'm not buying it. And then sometimes they go, they can just press some buttons. Get out of here, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, this is so stupid.
You manage a store,
Yeah, but this is like a bar. It's a corporate store, so I don't know. The Marc-Down probably could have been whatever. And they do have a spot. It's kind of interesting of a thing. You ever been to Plato's Closet? They sell clothes.
Yeah, I have $10, Mark.
Right, exactly. So like this is kind of like the Plato's Closet of like bookstores, but you could sell your Funko Pops, you could sell your DVDs. You could sell, like, I was looking at Thundercats. Not that I need a Thundercat. I don't even have a DVD player.
Or Thundercats.
W took my Blu-ray player. Awesome. Thank God my one Godzilla like Blu-ray was not in there. I thought one of them was there because I couldn't find it. It ended up being like in a different case that I had. Okay. Thank God, because that was my box set. That was my Criterion box set. Thank God that wasn't in there. Anyway, still haven't replaced a Blu-ray player. By the way, you have a Blu-ray player?
Yes. It's old.
You might just need to buy. I don't know if you need to buy a new one, but LG stopped making theirs.
Mine's a Sony. Like, if you're going to get a Blu-ray player, you get the company that created them. Like, the idea back 15 years ago, it was like, you have a Samsung TV because they're the best, and a Sony Blu-ray player because they're the best. Mm-hmm. So that's what I kind of went with.
Right.
But yeah, I know I had problems playing some Blu-rays years later because they kept like, oh, you got to update your Blu-ray player. I'm like, I do.
Yeah,
It's
there
just
used to be a firmware something. There used to be something.
It's a machine that plays Blu-rays. Like, why should I update it? Like,
Yeah.
are your Blu-rays so advanced? Like, don't change your Blu-rays.
Right.
Like,
well, the problem was they started doing what they call was branching stuff, where they would have some type of component where they would want to not have it on the disc. So it would be like sometimes second audio tracks where they would patch stuff later, or you can get other material where one of the Hellboys I think has it where you can like click on something and you go to like a Hellboy site and it pulls stuff from the Hellboy site or whatever. Now those sites are probably gone. You know what I mean? Which sucks. Which means you might be able to find it on like some things I was looking for this week on Flash Gordon. There's no good copies of Flash Gordon, and I shouldn't even go to this site. I don't know if you've ever been on internetarchive.org.
I have.
That is for someone like for people like us. That's an all day. We can get into one rabbit hole and the next rabbit hole and the next rabbit hole.
They have a good amount of Wizard magazines
Holy
on that site.
Mackerel. Yeah, you can really get in there. You can download the PDF and just ridiculous. So I got in a little bit of a Flash Gordon thing. Anyway. So I just went through and through and through. I almost bought, they had a Multiversity hardcover. It was $40, and I didn't get that.
The awesome Grant Morrison DC story that should have come out before I'll always double down on New 52 being a mistake.
Yeah.
Because it actually is
Multiversity. Yeah.
It's actually the reason why Dan Didio got fired eventually. Mm-hmm. Because Paul Levitz was always comfortable with DC Comics being number 2. He goes, yeah, we're comfortable. We'll always be number 2. It's fine. We don't get that much of attention. We do really good some months. We do okay some months. But we're comfortable being number 2. What Dan Didio did was made DC number 1 for 2 months. Doing New 52. Right. And then they never regained that again. So now Warner Brothers going, oh, well, you were number 1 here. Why can't you be number 1 all the time? And that's where DC Comics have gone down ever since.
Yeah, that's why it's become Batman Comics. It's Batman Comics, basically. Because Batman, for the most part, is going to sell a certain percentage over. And it's been marketed that way. To the point where they need to have like a DC anthology. And then they canceled Brave and the Bold, which I think is fine. But the Brave and the Bold, which is always a Batman team-up book, became like just a showcase for things that they didn't have any room for.
It became Marvel Comic Presents.
Or New Talent Showcase. Like, it was a lot of New Talent stuff that was like fine, you know. But if I'm spending $8.95 or $9.95 on a comic book that's like, and I have one story I want to read in it, like the Dead Man Nightwing story I want to read in it, I'll just wait for the DC app. I'm okay. You know, Kelly Jones, true. Tim Seeley.
So what else you got this week, Mark?
So this, so here, I wanted to ask you about this because why did they say volume 1? I think by the time this came out, it was over, right? Basically.
Yeah. They published 4 issues. The 5th issue is drawn. But Kirkman did not like the inker. Liefeld hired MAXX, also known as Michael Anthony Castrillo. He had a John Byrne style. He drew a couple X-Forces. So Liefeld had him ink a couple pages. And Kirkman's like, I want a Liefeld comic, not a John Byrne comic. And Liefeld's like, well, I kind of dig this. Like, let's just... And Kirkman wasn't feeling this book. Kirkman was doing a rough outline. Liefeld was drawing it, and then Kirkman would come back and dialogue it. They were doing it Marvel style.
Right.
And the thing was, the book's pretty good, you know? Like, it's a good book. Like, Kirkman was amazed at Liefeld's ability to name characters, and they were really coming together good on this book. It's a shame. We didn't get more of it.
Yeah, I think that's why I think the volume 1's kind of funny. And then I'm like, because I know that's it. I know this is it, basically. Yeah. And I got it mainly because there's some sketchbook stuff. Here's the original art for that. And like, there's a good amount of stuff in there. All the covers, alternate covers in there without trade dress.
I have think about the Infinite issues. Do you? Well, the neat about the Infinite was
issue 1A's of all.
Okay. What's neat about this book is, you know, every issue had multiple variants. But then they would do a deluxe version of each issue that would come out the same week. Like, you can buy Invincible 1, A, B, C, or D, whatever, and then you can buy Invincible 1 Deluxe, which had most, if not all, the variant covers in the back and promotional stuff and Kirkman outlines. You know, it was a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, it's almost like him doing like that, the Walking Dead, like Deluxe, what he's doing now. You know what I mean? Deluxe edition, almost.
Yeah, this was like a precursor to that. So it's a shame.
MAXX right there.
They co-own it 50-50. So we could see it again. They're friends. In fact, when the book stopped, it was like heated between them, right? So, and I had gone to the first Image convention in Oakland for the Image 20th anniversary. Me and Walt went out there, Oakland, California, and I was hanging out with Liefeld a lot. Went to lunch, went and got coffee. We were chilling, talking, and he was like really kind of not shitting on Kirkman, but like, here's the deal with the book, here's what happened, blah blah blah. And then me and Walt are walking towards Mike Dirnt of Green Day has a coffee shop / bar. So we were going to that, and I see Kirkman and Liefeld walking together, like almost hand in hand, like laughing and talking like they're almost a couple. And the next day, Liefeld's like, he goes, "I bet you seeing us surprised you, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't." Like from this conversation to like buddies, you know. But
I'm sure it shaves off. I'm sure the in person stuff will shave.
You separate. It's hard.
Okay, well that was a thing that happened, but I had a little quick power outage for like a second, but just enough to turn the computer off. So I got really nervous. So I texted you, and then now we're recording again.
We're good. We're back.
We're on the Infinite. We're back, baby. And luckily, I saw the converting thing, so that's nice. Because I would have thought that we had just lost however long we've been talking. Who knows?
I would say you would seamlessly patch this together, but you got to talk.
I will not. I will talk about it, and I will not seam it together well. So the Infinite.
You're so good at seaming all over the place.
I am. That's correct.
That's right. The Law and Order should not come to your house.
No black lights here, please. Thank you. 0.0 black light. So you were leaving off a story that you saw Liefeld and Kirkman talking happily, walking and talking.
Yeah, because they are buddies.
ImageCon. Yeah. Well, if this is the case, then we need the end of the Infinite, and then we need Killraven to happen. Because I think you sent me some screenshots this week of some of the artwork for Killraven, which was a Kirkman. Guess what was it going to be, a MAXX? Or was it just going to be a mini, like a Marvel Knights mini or something?
I don't even know if there was a logo on it. It was just a Marvel miniseries. The Killraven. Like I said, all 4 or 5 issues are drawn. I think 3 of them are colored. I love that they got Liefeld and Brevoort got in an argument. Brevoort's like, "Oh, that stuff's not done." Liefeld's like, "It's drawn and half colored. Of course they're done. You could color the other 2 issues in like a minute." Like it was just a weird like argument. They're buddies now.
I wonder if we could do something like that. Maybe we should come up with like some type of like crowdfund Kickstarter. Like I don't know, like it's like, or a petition.
The problem is Liefeld and Kirkman probably got paid already. I think Liefeld already got paid. Marvel owns it. It's not like Liefeld can go and make it, his own character. He can't go publish it for Extreme or Image.
Right.
So they can't. That's Dead Crow. You like Dead Crow instead of Killraven? Dead Crow.
Dead Crow. That's fine.
Well, what's funny is the origin of the miniseries itself is a Liefeld Commandy pitch. He's like, I want to do Commandy for DC, and he's got to run into the remnants of like all the Justice League stuff, And Joe Quesada heard that. He's like, "Can you just do that for Marvel?" And Liefeld's like, "Yeah, sure." So he changed it to Killraven, and it works. The problem is Marvel probably doesn't want to publish it because so many of those ideas have since been used. Like for instance, Girl Thor. Girl Thor has been used in a major way, so it doesn't have that initial impact that it would have. But yeah, we still want to see it. It's still more Liefeld artwork is great. More anything is great. Going back to Schism, the Defiant Kickstarter, that's a great idea. Like I would love to see more Kickstarters of things get published. If we got a Kickstart 1963, by jolly, let's do it.
Right.
Whatever it takes. I mean, our buddy Nick Barucci, your buddy, but I'm sure he's everyone's buddy. He tried his hardest to get that 1963 hardcover done. Everyone's done it. Eric Larson's talked to him. Liefeld's talked to him. Like everyone tries to get that book done. And sadly, I don't think it'll get done until Alan Moore passes, which is horrible.
Right.
He's got that script for 40 pages. 40 pages according to Rick Veitch. So that book's half written. So you just need someone to finish it up in that Alan Moore way, whether that's Rick Veitch himself or they hire a Mark Miller or somebody who could do that. And we might get it then,
Right.
I hate to see it. I don't want Alan Moore to pass. I'm just saying, And that's even if his daughters decide to hand that script over.
Right.
I feel like his house, I don't know what Alan Moore's house looks like, but I feel like it's a lot of stacks of things. Stacks of books and magic and papers and scripts.
Right.
I just feel like that's what his house. And I also feel like it looks like a Hobbit Shire house from the inside.
Right.
You
That's
know,
about right. Just stacks, just stacks of
I
stuff.
don't know where Alan Moore lives. I would love to visit him, catch him in the local bar, which I hear is across the street from his house.
Oh my God.
That's all I know.
He doesn't
That's
live
all
in
I
a
know.
castle. He doesn't live in like a dungeon cat. Like I would figure he'd live in a castle or something like that.
At the
But
very least, I hear he's got a cool front door. Like, I don't know if that's his front door. There's that one picture I think I showed you of Alan Moore sitting there with his 10 magical Mandarin rings and his
right.
I think they got a moon superimposed over the door window. It's a cool print. I think it was photographed by Jose Villaruba.
Yeah, that was one of the books I saw recently that I was on like I think like that internet movie or the archive, internetarchive.org or whatever. They had a bunch of pictures of stuff that he took, that Bill Rubia took, and probably photoshopped or whatever.
Well,
So
we'll talk about it in our episode that we do. But Jose Villarrubia really wanted to do big numbers. I think he wanted to do it from start to beginning, from start to end. Like, let's redo it
oh wow, okay,
and have Alan Moore complete big numbers.
because that's
Uh,
Sienkiewicz.
that was Sienkiewicz, drew the first two. Al Columbia was working on a third. That was Bill Sienkiewicz's assistant. I guess Bill Sienkiewicz, I heard he had he likes to take pictures of people and use that for his art, which is crazy because if you look at some of his art, it's like, that's not a photograph. Bill Sienkiewicz is incredible. He drew a sketch for Walt. He was at Wizard World Philly one year, and Walt got a drawing of Elektra. And it was a little pricier back then for what commissions cost, but it's Bill Sienkiewicz. You don't care.
Right.
And he drew this Elektra with he's like 5-10 seconds, and it's amazing. The guy is an amazing artist. But yeah, he had a woman model for this character, the lead of Big Numbers, and she moved, so he couldn't get her. And she moved in the 80s, late 80s. So it's not like, I think she moved out of the country. So he couldn't get those, I guess, because he couldn't get her in that certain way, like certain emotions. He ended up not finishing the book. That's one of the reasons. And then Al Columbia, I think, was so horrified by the industry and his editors being on his ass the whole time. It might have even been Paul Jenkins. I can't confirm that, but I think
That's right. Yeah, that was through Tundra.
Tundra, yeah. Tundra itself, we should do a whole episode on, just because the amazing idea behind Tundra and the fact that it failed is a horror story. But anyway, trying to stick with big numbers.
Yeah.
No, trying to stick with big numbers. So Al Columbia drew issue 3, and then I think the rumor was he burned the original art. He was so angry or tore it up.
Yeah,
but we do have photocopies of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have photocopies of it. I think I have a copy of the script, so people can bootleg a copy of that. I got a bootleg copy of that Rick Veitch's unpublished Swamp Thing issue.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like 75% drawn and the rest is just layouts, but it's really neat because he had Jesus in it, and DC at the time was like, no, we can't do it. So it's crazy to me that they never published it now. There
was rumor that there was a Rick Veitch Swamp Thing collection recently, right? But then he even rumored it. I think he rumored it, that they're like, they might be putting that out.
People talk, and then sometimes stuff happens, sometimes stuff doesn't. Michel Fife, take a shot. He had a deal with DC at one point. They were going to publish his Death Zone story, his Suicide Squad story. Like, they were going to legit publish it. It's just, sadly, it never happened.
Yeah, they should have just had just do I don't know. I feel like going back to the Marvel stuff with the Killraven. In the 90s, they did stuff where they had these inventory stories, and they were like, we got to do something with it. So they had didn't they have a Gambit in the Champions? That sound right?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And it was George Tuska drew it, and it was like a Champions story, and then it was like Gambit in it for some reason. There was just they had a couple things. There was a Doctor Strange one that Neil Vokes drew, I want to say. But there was
the one with the Eric Larson cover.
There was Marvel Vault stuff. I think so. There was stuff that there was from the Vault or Marvel Vault. Just do that.
They've done it in the past. We managed to get the Kevin Nolan, Steve Gerber, Man-Thing story that sat in a drawer incomplete for years, for decades.
Yeah, and then they come back and they can kind of finish it out or whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's a good amount of stuff that wasn't there. Was there an inventory story of She-Hulk, or there was a Brian Hitch one or something?
Yeah, they did. They did finally put that out. And that's really nice looking because it's Hitch pre-Authority.
It's Hitch post Death's Head, but pre-Authority Hitch, correct? So it was a little more Alan Davis-y. It was X-Men Prime era.
Did somebody else have to finish it? Did he do the whole thing?
Nah, I feel like somebody finished it, like Matt Haley or somebody, like somebody in the same vein
Yeah.
finished it. Yeah. So listen,
But see, they got it out. Listen, if you have it, get it out. My biggest thing is that besides Kill Raven is the Eric Larson issue of X-Force. Yes, the original art got burned in his house. Marvel has photocopies. He has photocopies of like the work 75% done. There's pages that are done. There's pages that are, sketched out. And Larson's like, but they're photocopies. I can't do anything with it. He said this years ago. But now that Larson can draw on a computer, which he did a whole issue Dragon digitally, I'm like, you could just scan them in and fix them.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. You ever see those pages? They're on his Facebook page.
No. I'm not trying. I can't do it. No more. No Facebook. No Facebook.
That's right on Facebook. The cool things Larson has on his Facebook page. He's got that X-Force issue that he didn't finish. He's got the pencils to his Thor issue that Vince Colletta inked.
Oh yeah.
It's Eric Larson's first official Marvel comic. So he's got the pencils to that. His pencils look better than the inking that Vinny Colletta did.
See, I'd be interested in trying to mess around with so one of the things I was thinking about doing was John Carter. I could do the John Carter printed. I can do the John Carter omnibus recoloring, which was basically just like a corrected coloring is all. Like it's not reseparated or anything. It's just it's the same film or whatever that they had it, and then I could do the black and white, which is the Dark Horse, and then I could color it. We've been talking. I should be doing something but maybe I don't color it in the same colors, or maybe I don't look at it at all and I color it the way I want to color it.
You had said something like I always wanted to see John Byrne's OMAC colored, and you had said that you actually colored a page of it on your own. I'm like that sounds super fun. Like I would love to see that. That book. I don't know why it's never been reprinted lately, has it? Like, why isn't there a hardcover of that?
There's no trade. There's nothing.
So weird.
I don't think it was. Listen, I'm pretty sure, and I bought that. I bought and sold that. I'd say 6 times. I probably had an original one. I've sold it, and I'll either sell it together. But you can find that everywhere.
They're always somewhere.
Everywhere. Issue 3 is kind of hard to find here and there, or 4. 3 and 4 are kind of hard. 1's everywhere. But you can pretty much get it in dollar bins. Yeah, I always feel like some of those books, like if they're around so much, they're never going to get printed. Like Punisher POV, I think is kind of around too. That should be a collection, but that is not a collection. It's weird. You know what? Maybe in one of the Punisher epic collections, maybe they'll have that. Because I know in one of we were talking about the prestige format, dumb expensive Punisher ones. They had No Surrender, but one of that good Joe Jusko cover. Then you have the interiors that are just not very good at all. But I want to say one of the Marvel Epic collections of Punisher. Punisher needs to work a little harder on the Epic collections. I can't imagine that they sell very well, but there's so much Punisher stuff around that time.
Do they put the armories in those specials? I
don't think they put any of those yet. No.
So funny.
They should.
We've discussed the armories on the show before, right? I don't know. I had the friends I would have. I had this one friend who was just he didn't buy comics, but he bought those Punisher armories. He was just,
they're just guns. They're guns.
He just loved it. And Liefeld would tell stories the people in Jim Lee's lines were these super gun pro NRA people, and he goes, they look scary as shit, but they'd be we love your guns, Jim Lee. You draw the best guns.
Right.
And Liefeld's I'm sticking with my space vacuums.
Right. Oh, yeah. So this was the last bit of that I got. It's Second in Charles, which is but anyway, so they, I don't have this, and this is one of the bad collections. This is what I think Marvel shouldn't be doing. First off, this should be probably in a gallery. It just kind of came in when it was 4 or 5 issues.
Something.
Yeah, this is kind of the coolest piece that spread where it had, and even have, I think in one of them, Danny Warren Johnson's in the second one down towards the front. That's actually Danny Warren Johnson drawing the book inside of there. It says DWJ, so he's in there.
Beautiful page, and I see you got your Manny Petty, so that's good.
I did. I always do. But I wanted to put this in because we always talk about the motion. I think so. I would say the WAP and the Flink maybe not probably the bomb and the whip. Like it's like I love that he does all the organic lettering inside of it, but that motion blur thing, I think that is done when he does the action is just crazy, and that's done. Danny Warren Johnson is currently doing all the Transformers books, and just I feel like that was taken a bit from James Harren, and it's being carried alongside. Jorge Corona is doing it now a little bit. This motion blur, which we think kind of was always taken away from Chris Bacalo, Shea the Changing Man, and this is what I mean by not having a good collection, right? So here's your collections, right? Here's your and I hated those headshot variants. The Todd Knock headshot variants were terrible. That Stegman. No, the Ivan Coelho one's probably pretty good, but it's small. I can't see it. Yeah. And the Simonson, I should have bigger than that. At least give me the Simonson one. Come on.
Every cover deserves a full page. Like if that's how it's printed on the cover,
it's going to be really hard with these collections now, though, because I mean, every issue has 3 issues.
Don't care. I don't care. If you're spending money to get your book collected, put the variants in there. It doesn't take away from the value of a variant. Because it's buried in the back of a hardcover.
No, it doesn't. Nah, I don't think it does. I think it's more of like page printing and color, like But I think even that
you're wasting it. What is this? What is this page to the left? Is that pitch?
Yeah.
I'm
sure it was a 2-page Donny Cates intro, which could have been 1 page.
Do we need
Donny Cates? Oh no, that's 1 page. Yeah.
We don't need that. And I bet you there's blank pages in the front. Like you could do these if you're worried about your page count. You can condense things.
Yeah.
The inside of a trade, there's no reason that the inside of a trade cover couldn't have your indicia and your creator credits or your table of contents or whatever.
Yeah, the omnibus have like 7 or 8 pages that are just like stuff. It's like, I don't need the title of the book. I'll get to that page. I don't need the page number. I'll get to that page. So I don't know.
We wouldn't mind a blank page, or at least a page that's empty enough where you can get your creator to sign it. You got to take that in consideration. When I signed The Darkest Image number 2 to you, like there's no good signature page in that book.
Right.
I was it kind of bothered me a little bit. But if I ever show you my one Youngblood hardcover that has like a couple of really nice blank pages, I got Rob to do like a full Die Hard, a full Cougar, a full Combat, a full Bedrock. Like there's something interesting to these really nice collections. My All-Star Superman, I couldn't afford it, but like I brought it to get signed by Frank Quitely down in Baltimore one year, and he was charging I think he was charging like $500 for a headshot. And I'm just like, I can't do it.
Right.
Like, I'm just not and it would look beautiful. A Frank Quitely headshot in my All-Star Superman Absolute would just be an incredible artifact. But, I just couldn't swing it. Which sucked.
No, that makes sense. I mean, is
it worth it? Yeah. They're beautiful headshots. But like, and he'll get what he wants.
You need it. I would want I would want color. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't even want that. I don't even need that. I would just need, if I think if you're doing, I think if you're doing a 500, so just we talked about that Stephen Butler one. What do you think that costs?
That should be $500, but I bet you it's not.
That's probably 300 or exactly. So that's what I mean. But and that could be something that like he could put as a print. You know what I mean? I know that's not the way it goes. But
here's the thing, Mark. Also, just realizing it. I was looking at the Claws kind of omnibus they put out this year, and the Frank Quitely variant to that is basically the level of sketch you would have got in your Absolute book. So that might have cost $500. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that sketch. So it's funny that when you said Claws, I was thinking of the Joseph Michael Linsner Wolverine Black Cat Claws series, which
he didn't do a variant for that.
No. So yeah, but what was fun about it? So this is what I mean. So I spent $12 on this, $5. Right. I can't see. It doesn't have it on this. The other one had the MSRP, so I can't really see what they are on that. But I imagine that hardcover, what's that, 1 to 4, probably 10, 12. And then the Argent Star one. I want to say that one's like 12. I think that's like $15.99 or $17.99. Something dumb. Like it's not. Yeah. These are not big books.
No, it's weird. Marvel's very strange. Like that should be a hardcover book. I'd like it to be oversized because it's really good artwork. Mm-hmm. I know I sound like such a Liefeld whore this week. Remember when Liefeld did Deadpool Bad Blood? He did. It was original hardcover. It's the highest selling Deadpool #1 in history. That hardcover, which is a great number,
which is 100 pages or more.
Yeah, it's 100 pages. So Marvel's like, well, for the follow-up, we want you to do a miniseries. I was like, why would you want that? Like, let's do a second hardcover. Let's match the first hardcover. It would look nice. So the smart thing Marvel does is before Banner Blood, the sequel comes out, they do re-release Bad Blood, and Liefeld adds like a page or two every issue, new cover.
Right.
So then they do the sequel Banner Blood, and then they don't collect it in a hardcover to match the first one. I'm like, what is? I don't get it. Match the first ones because you have separate buyers. You have buyers who might even have waited, and then of course do a nice bigger collection of like all this stuff. Put Deadpool Bad Blood, Banner Blood, the X Force Kill Shot.
Yeah,
there should be another omnibus there, Major X. This Deadpool team up book that's coming out now. I would make a little hardcover of each to match that Deadpool Bad Blood, and then go back and make an omnibus.
Make an omnibus. It would be what? It would be Major X, Bad Blood, Badder Blood, Marvel Team Up. Deadpool Corps is not in Deadpool Corps, right? Didn't he draw a Deadpool Corps?
Yeah, he drew like 9 or 11 issues with Victor Gischler was the writer of that.
Yeah,
so and he did a short story with, and then you do the short stories, the Joe Kelly short story from like Deadpool 900, or you do the Deadpool 7 Sins. He did a story for.
Right.
That's a fun omnibus right there.
Yeah. Did he do any of the Posehn run? Did they? I know they've had a couple of extra people in. Maybe not.
Not positive.
Yeah.
Not positive he did anything for that. Covers, obviously. I don't think he did any stories.
No, that would be a fun reread. I think that
especially the beginning.
I like the Dracula in Infinite Comics when that was coming out. And I know they reprinted that in like hardcover.
That's really good.
But that's really fun. I would imagine that's
where he marries the demon queen Lilith. Of hell or whatever. Lilith. Yeah, and it's drawn really good. Who drew that?
Riley Brown.
It's so good. Riley Brown is the king of digital comics. Digital comics, like there was a point where it was like wasn't motion comics, but the panels would move in a way like you'd have a guy and then the next panel's arm would be up. And if you had a quick enough computer, my old iPad wasn't good at it, but my desktop was. It looked flawless. Like it looked really good.
Yeah, they would add or they would change something. And the two people that did the best, one was Richard Pace. I always want to say Richard Case, but that's the Darkhold guy. But Richard Pace is the guy who
does Second Son.
I think he does do Second Son, yes, but he was one of the original artists on the Batman 66. Okay, and the Batman 66 when it was on like
when Jeff Parker and all were writing it.
Yeah, it was like 200 slides. Yeah. It was like the number one was like 200 slides. It was something insane.
It was awesome.
But then when they put it into like a trade, they just kind of cut it up into like
they do the best they can to make a comic out of it.
Yeah.
But here's a question: how is it on the DC app? You ever look it up?
I think it's not good on the DC app. I think it's whatever they did on that. I'm pretty sure. I can double check it real fast. But
Richard Pace, you know where he started. You know where we know him from.
No.
He wrote Pit Crew. He's Dale Keown's. He used to be real good friends with him. He's got some Dale Keown stories. Actually, I befriended Richard Pace a little bit. He's a really nice guy. Because I had asked him a question about, he had the Supreme drawing up. I'm like, what's up with the Supreme drawing? And the point was, he almost drew Supreme for Liefeld for a minute. But Dale Keown got in a lawsuit with Liefeld at one point. So he ended up not working for Rob. But the lawsuit was like garbage. It's like Dale Keown gave permission for Liefeld to use Pitt in Supreme. But then he's like, oh, you didn't ask my permission to do the trade.
Right.
It was that Supreme Madness.
Supreme Madness.
Yeah.
There's a lot of art in the Supreme Madness. You got PDI.
Dan Fraga. Todd Nauck.
McManus. Probably a Cedric Nocon in there, maybe.
Yeah. I think that's where he started off the last issue or two.
Yeah.
Another nice guy. I should show you some of his art he sent me.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of Youngblood pinups before he got hired, and they're all really because he went to Extreme. Live was like, all right, you're almost ready to draw for us. You're getting there. And he just drew like a series of pinups. And by the time he was done the pinups, he's like, you're ready.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember him kind of popping in there. That's what was really fun about. It's like I even think like Pat Lee had some early pinups during some stuff too. It's like, what's this? Who's this guy?
Yeah, it was neat.
Pat Lee
what? Those pinups are good.
Where was Pat Lee start? Was that Brigade Zero?
I think Brigade Zero was Matsuda.
Okay.
I think he did a Prophet issue. maybe like the issue 9 or something. Like he finished up the One Prophet series before
And
Prophet Volume 2 launched.
They do Blood Pool.
Blood Pool. It's like Shireen's answer to Gen 13, which he was doing kind of a Campbell take by the time he did that.
Yeah, that was good though. I have that.
It was fun. That's fun stuff.
I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that wrap up everything you got?
Yes, that's my travels. I mean, again, not a ton of stuff, but I do find it funny. That's why I like shops, man. I'm talking to some manager at this store. I'm like, look, man, you guys got plenty of stuff that's overpriced. You too much on t-shirts, the albums, you're selling premium. Like, come on, you have enough for me to buy this thing at $35, bro.
Yeah,
you have it.
So one final thing I wanted to
I'll try it again. Maybe I'll go back when I go pick it up, see if I can go do it again.
Check the chat. I just sent you an image. You can post it. I wanted to show you this. This was an exclusive Transformers Dreamwave Volume 3 number 1 by Don Figueroa. It's a beautiful picture. It's a take on the Dinobots jumping out of the Autobot shuttle from Transformers the movie, except he made it nighttime, and he smartly added Snarl because they accidentally left Snarl out of most of Transformers the movie. But this was exclusive at the New Jersey CyberCon. There's a CyberCon held in Mount Laurel by I think his name was Jesse Alvarez. He was a local super toy geek.
Jesse Alvarez, who I sold that book. I need to get the revised version. He did a Transformers like photo book.
He did multiple. I got the International Jet one, which is just incredible. He did a G1 book, and then he did like all the Japanese toys and European toys that followed G1. And then he did like a Transformers artifact book. And I have an item, which he does not know what it is. I have a little 4-inch glow-in-the-dark Grimlock from like the 80s. He's like, I don't know what this is. He goes, this could be like one of a kind. Like this is like something really.
Wow. Stumped him.
I know. I stumped him. And you know what? I think my grandma got it at a yard sale for me. I have no idea where I don't remember where I got it from.
Yeah. What's the one thing that I always think of Woolworth where I think I mentioned the Sharkticon and I was like, yeah, it's this one thing. And you're like, they never made that Sharkticon. And I was like,
the Alligator Con.
I was like, no, I saw it. I like in my brain, it's like a Mandela effect, right? Where
it's a Mandalorian effect.
It's a Mandalorian effect where I created the toy. I wanted the toy so much that I created that it was on the shelf.
He was in the movie, Transformers the movie, the Alligator Con. This is a third-party version of the toy. 3 different companies made them. And then Hasbro finally made the toy like 2 years ago, but it's not as good as the third-party toy.
Right.
This is my favorite one. There's like I said, there's 4 of them now, and this is my little glow-in-the-dark Grimlock.
Oh wow!
That's
before 3D printing, by the way, everybody.
This is before. This is the 80s. So if you have $1,000, no, just kidding. I don't think I'd sell it.
Right. Sell for $1,000. You might sell for
$1,000. Goes a long way.
Super 7 just put out the Godzilla, the Shogun Warriors Godzilla repaints, but they're 6 inches. And they're coloring them in different eras. So they have a burning one. So that's gonna be something I'm like, because that design, the Shogun Warriors Godzilla design, is not like any other Godzilla design. It was right around the time they were licensing it every which way, because the Godzilla comic book design can't be that close to Godzilla design. So that's its own thing.
Weird. And the Shogun Warriors is its own thing.
That's its own thing with a shooting hand for some reason. And the shooting hand still works, so you can get this now. They redid Super 7 did do a replica, but it was expensive off the jump. It was $300, then it went to $500. Then he did one that was like really dark, like black almost. But I don't want that. And I just don't know how it's not in my dad's house.
So you're saying they're making a mini Shogun Godzilla, but he's the burning Godzilla that you love, that you talked about last week.
Yeah. Well, they made small Shogun like this size, like the size of the Black Star. They made ones that big recently that went for like 20, maybe 15, 20. These I think are 50 or 60, but they're like 6 inches tall. But they're like, no, maybe not. Trying to think, I have a -1 somewhere. Yeah, so I have a -1, but it's about this big, maybe a little bigger than this.
Mm-hmm.
That's a -1. This is a Bandai -1. The Bandais are so bad. I wish NECA could just get the license back, please. Like Super 7 is going to start making new ones, but they still look a little stiff. The NECA ones were so well made. and they were so
Did
well
Hasbro
packaged.
buy Bandai?
I don't know.
I know
Sounds
Hasbro.
familiar.
I think Hasbro. They can do Power Rangers now. Hasbro has Power Rangers, so I don't know what they bought. I don't know if they bought Saban or Bandai. I'm not positive. But like going back to what you're saying, like I love that idea of the '70s Godzilla toy colored like a more modern Godzilla toy. It'd be like if they had G1 Optimus Prime and you painted them like the first movie with the blue and the flames, and like
yeah, I want to say that someone is doing.
They never did that, but like that would be a neat idea in the same vein. Like it's neat doing the combinations.
Yeah, I think someone's doing a new Optimus Prime, but they're painting it like animation cells.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've seen statues of that first,
Mhm.
but now they're making toys of that. That's a really awesome thing. Somebody has a 1.2 meter, which is like almost 4 feet tall, Metroplex.
Wow.
And I think they actually made a toy. It's not 3D printed because we're getting 7-foot 3D printed Transformers. I've seen people do Metroplex 7-foot, Unicron 7-foot.
How do you do that?
You just do it piece by piece and you glue it all together.
Oh my God.
I know it's insane. It's insane. So yeah, somebody made an official Metroplex, not official. It's the third party probably. And it looks kind of like the video game. It's like a cross between video game Metroplex, which is a really good Metroplex, and original G1 Metroplex. So I'd say I've just said Metroplex more times in the past minute than I've ever said.
I'm still wondering if I should I wonder how much money I could sell stuff in this room. Would I just get a Unicron? I think I joked that, and Ian's like, you should totally do that.
Oh, the HasLab Unicron?
Yeah, I should get the HasLab because it's like $2,000, I think, at best.
Which means if you would have bought it initially for $300 to $400, you would have had a deal.
Yeah, but two.
I had a good Unicron. They had taken Armada Unicron, which is a good toy.
Yeah.
And first, Japan painted it like G1 Unicron. I'm like, that's cool. But then they made more pieces to it and changed stuff and remolded it. So it's a really good G1 Unicron.
Oh, wow, okay. Right.
But then you got the HasLab one, which just blows it away. We've often talked about when they did the Transformers the movie, in addition to not making the Alligator Con that you thought you saw, they didn't make a Unicron, but they had a prototype. And it's just kind of fat, like a beach ball looking. It's a bad toy. It was the only way
to transform it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a bad toy, but it was still awesome. And Hasbro has prototypes of it. I've seen them when I've gone to the BotCons. But Super 7 did do a reaction figure of Unicron and Robot.
Non-transform one.
But it doesn't transform.
Right. It's like 4 inches, 3-4 inches.
Boo to that.
But that's cool. Listen, they've had the loopholes, and eventually they're in the ballpark where they're able to now make some Godzilla toys in different sizes and scopes. So, I mean, listen, it's a very good company. Their t-shirts always look great. I have the masks downstairs, like the Godzilla and Mechagodzilla like masks, like the Halloween masks. I have them on my wall.
Right. You like to wear them when you're with your girl, right? You're like,
great. No, it's not allowed.
pretend you're running away in Japanese.
Right. Yeah, pretend that I'm about to explode. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's gross.
That's right. Your back lights up like in the movie, but it's backwards.
Yeah. Boom. That's about right. It's about as fast as
we should have cut this. No, don't cut anything. I'd rather be canceled than cut.
Right. No edits. So let's wrap it up. So stay tuned for Reviews Day. I'm excited about this one's a pretty good. And they'll be out this week for show. So it's been pretty the rhythm. I can pretty much have it set now. So I think I just got kicked out of my screen share, right? Or no, I am. Oh, good. All right. So I just got a notification that the video we did earlier is good.
Good. So you guys will have it soon. Mark the editing king.
Yeah, I should have it out tonight. I should have it Sunday. So Sunday, Tuesday has been pretty good for me. Like I think that's been pretty good. I can usually knock this one out. And so Sunday, Tuesday. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Like and subscribe. Socials. Send it to people. I want to get some business cards this week because I feel like when we go to different places, we should just drop cards. With our links on it and things like that. I feel like
you should print out. Maybe we should print out a couple of flyers. Like if you go to a store, say, hey, do you mind if I put a flyer? Like, hey,
we'll talk about your places for it. Yeah, I always tag the stores. I always talk about the stores. Yeah, so that's cool.
We're not looking for advertising money, but if you could just have a flyer up,
I'll take my Marc-Down. I'll take my discount if you need it. But I get it. I mean, listen, everybody knows me. I've been collecting for 30 years plus. So they go, oh yeah, well, how about this? Or it never is what I think it's going to be when I go up, which is hard. We talk about
collecting for 35 years, buying for over 40. You know,
Yeah.
we've had comics since we were what 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, I might
Transformer
yeah.
comics,
I'm
Spider-Man
sure I got
comics.
some type of allowance or something like that for doing dishes or something.
It was usually like a gift or like my cousin. Here's a Spider-Man comic, you know.
Yeah. Yep.
So, all right, you guys have a good week, and
Have
we'll
a
talk to you
great
on
week.
Reviews Day.
Reviews Day. All right, I'm gonna hit the recording here.